So this lady asks, this black lady, are white women really that scared of black women? And I'm going to say yes. And this is my opinion as a white woman who is 53 years old and has lived in the South in Georgia in my entire life. But it's not being scared, but it's a fear. And it's not a physical fear. It is the mental fear. It is what we see in you and what we see you doing and how it challenges us and the fear of that. So we see black women and we see how strong you are. We see you coming together as a community. We see you supporting each other. We see you supporting your community, supporting your families, supporting your children, going out and fighting for your rights, being authentic in your race and in your femininity. Anyway. And we're jealous. I think we're jealous because we would love to be that, I think, and we don't know how to break out of the indoctrination that we have been suppressed by our entire lives. And I'm not giving white women a pass, don't get me wrong, but I know I, and most women have been told, white women have been told our entire lives, be quiet, know your place, be a good girl, don't rock the boat, don't be too much. And when you are any of those things, you are ostracized because you have rocked their boat. And that is what black women are. You rock our boat, our mental boat, because you challenge us to look at how we are deficient and not living in our truth, and it makes us uncomfortable. And people don't like to be uncomfortable. And it makes us start to question ourselves, and people don't like to question themselves. We would rather live in our little bubble of white supremacy and what we know and comfortableness. I know that's not a word. Than a lot of people would, white women would, rather than challenge themselves to grow and know more, because it's easy. Doing the work is hard. It's really hard. I've been doing the work the past several years, and it's hard. It is hard admitting some truths about yourself and some truths about yourself as a white woman. So yeah, I think that white women are scared of black women because you challenge us in that way, and a lot of us don't like it. And that's why we fear you. It's because we fear what you make us face.
Let's be sincere. Is there anything like white women fear black women? Is there anything like that? I stumbled off I stumbled on a couple of videos, and this is the reason why I'm asking this question, because I want to know what your views are out there. As a white lady, as a black lady, is it true that white ladies actually fear black ladies, and why is the reason? Well, I've got some couple of videos, and I saw ladies saying the reasons why they fear black ladies, but I want us to go watch them and see if truly that is the reason why they fear black ladies, or that is just a facade, just put that on to deceive people, but that the real reason is hidden beneath. Maybe the real reason is hidden and they don't want us to know. But hey, let's go watch it. Before I begin the conversation around this interesting topic, credits are given to original content creators of this video. And of course, if today is your first time of coming across my channel, do me a favor, give the video a thumbs up, a like button, or even subscribe if today is your first time, so that we can get this video viral and people can get to know about what people are saying about different race, different people, and we can get the conversation started. Thank you for staying tuned. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
I have a theory about why black women and white women are having such a hard time getting along, and it starts with a story. When I first started teaching, I was in a teacher training program with 3 other women. 2 of them were black and 1 of them was Indian, and we started teaching at the same school, the same grade, at the same time. One of these women, a black woman, completely excelled. She did so much better than I did at literally everything. Classroom management, her test scores were high. She was excellent at literally everything. And something about her excellence didn't sit right with me. I just didn't feel good about it, and I couldn't figure out why I didn't feel good about it. It was internalized racism, but I didn't know that yet. So I had to sit with this idea of her being better than me and trying to figure out why it didn't feel good and feel comfortable for me. And of course, at the time, I didn't know that I needed to do the work of anti-racism, so I didn't think it was possibly because I could have internalized racism. I had to do a lot of study and thought about myself and what could possibly be making me feel this way about this woman. And here's what I discovered. Most of the media that I had consumed up to that point in my life had white people as the central characters. And the shows and other media that I consumed that had white women at the central characters often had black women as the side characters. These black women's role in these movies was to assist the white women, support the white women, advise the white women, but never to rise above the white women. Even shows that were about black women, like The Help, had white women as the central character and the black women as supporting characters. So I internalized the idea that black women were there to support me and to advise me, but not to rise above or become better than me. And that's why when this black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of way about it. Now, I'd imagine lots and lots more white women have also internalized the same idea, and that's why they feel okay stealing black women's content and not giving them any credit, because the black women are just there to advise them anyway. But most black women are natural leaders. Society has forced them to become leaders. And so we need to step aside and let them lead. Even if it means checking our privilege and letting them lead us.
This might be a hot take, but when we say white privilege, we don't mean that your life is easy. White privilege simply means that the color of your skin doesn't make your life harder. For instance, if you are someone who has darker skin, there are systemic issues that prevent you from achieving success in many instances. If you want to go to an elite university or get a high-paying job, statistically, you are less likely to get the position as a white person, even having the exact same experience. And if a person of color does get the position, they are then told that the only reason they did was because of DEI or affirmative action. People with darker skin are more likely to be arrested, incarcerated for long periods of time, and wrongfully convicted. And they're more likely to live in poverty because of unfair housing practices and other methods of discrimination. If you truly understand what white privilege is, there is no reason to get offended when someone brings up this topic, because they aren't saying anything about you or your character. What this term means is that in such a diverse society, your skin color is not a barrier to success, and you are set up for success much better than any person of color, because America was built on white supremacy to favor white people.
White women are afraid of black women. And it's not that you're afraid of black women. No, you're afraid that if African American people come into power, we are going to do what your forefathers did to our forefathers. You're not scared of black people. That guilt is what you're afraid of. That guilt is what's keeping Africa colonized. That guilt is what's making you convince black people to indulge in products that are getting made and stolen from Africa. Blood diamond, Teslas, iRobots, Apple phone. You're selling the idea that Americans, black Americans, benefit from slavery. But everybody forgets that black Americans are the only people brought here as product. Everybody else came here as choice. Y'all got the freedom of opportunity because of black slaves that opportunity got built off of. Without those black slaves, without those Native Americans being killed, there would be no America. So you're afraid that if black people come into power, that we're going to do what your forefathers did to us. And that's Louis Farrakhan. That's 1960s Black Panther power. Fred Hampton, the leader of the Black Panthers, said you can't beat racism with racism. You can beat racism with unity, meaning black people supporting black people falling in love with Africa again. This hating white people, no. Let's just not support them anymore. Let's support our own. Let's feed our own. Let's not judge our own. Free Congo. Free Sudan.
The currency of whiteness is compliance, especially American westernized whiteness. The currency is compliance. And the reason that white women are so curious about you as a black woman in the South is because they are confronted with that fact, but they just don't know it. In their mind, when they see you, it triggers like this response of like non-compliance, like somebody's not complying. Like, what is she doing here? She's not supposed to be here. She's not complying with the order, and that threatens us. And I noticed this because I wasn't raised in the US, I was raised in Ukraine. We don't come face to face with racism a lot in Ukraine because there is no opportunity for it. It's pretty much like an all-white country, right? So that's not to say that racism wouldn't exist if given the opportunity. As soon as it is, it happens. As soon as it's given an opportunity, like in the beginning of the war when people were pushing black people off of trains, like to get on. It'll very much crop up there if it's given the opportunity to. I'm not saying that it's not a problem in Ukraine or other countries like it. People are racist, they just don't know it until they're actually confronted with having to deal with people of color. What I will say is because of that, because we don't have that dynamic of like slavery and segregation and like all of these things, that's why there's this common like sentiment in America about Slavic women that they're just built different, right? They may appear very feminine and like feminized or whatever, but you know, their husband is scared of them. They know that they actually control the entire dynamic kind of thing, right? Because you can only oppress women so much if there is no class below them, right? The only class that's below women in Ukraine are children. And we don't really have like a huge problem with homelessness or anything like that. There is not this multi-step hierarchy, right? There's only this power dynamic between men and women, but it's been balanced out pretty well, right? Like, yes, there are horrible Ukrainian men. I'm not denying that. Yes, some Ukrainian men are abusers and they use like religion and they use all sorts of things to abuse women. But on a large scale, what I grew up seeing was not skittish, abused women. I grew up seeing strong Slavic women because when there's nothing else to threaten women with other than like, oh, you're not going to get married or have a man or whatever, then you don't hold that much power as a man, especially in the courting stage, like in the dating stage. Like, Slavic men are on their best behavior, and there's just as much stigma for divorce for men as there is for women. The dynamics are just a little different. They're a little bit more balanced out, I would say, between men and women. Now, where America differs is that because it's such a melting pot and like all of this, the hierarchy is just turned up to 11. I mean, white women are so obsessed with compliance and they're so obsessed with keeping their place in this hierarchy because there are levels that they don't want to be brought down to, right? One of those levels being you're going to be treated like a black woman. By that I mean you're going to be hypersexualized, you're going to be treated as a second-class citizen, you're going to be made up a bunch of narratives about, and you're going to be considered like unfeminine, unruly, and whatever, etc., etc. There's like so many layers to this, right? So the reason that they're curious or that they're threatened, and I mean curious is a very gentle word you use, like I would say that they are threatened. Threatened because they feel like you're taking over. In the video that this comment was left on, this is what I talked about, right? White women in the American patriarchy are especially dangerous to black women because they are okay with the structure of the patriarchy because they gave up a lot to belong to it. And by that I mean they gave up their personalities, right? This is why they have plastic smiles and no joy in their eyes, because it's all about compliance. It's not about having your own personality. It's not about having your own goals, hopes, dreams. It's about compliance. The same thing that I noticed about women in America too. As a Ukrainian woman, like I was not so used to women just like hiding their joy, their surprise, their anger, especially. Like, white women really hide their anger because that belongs to men. In this racially charged patriarchy, anger belongs to men, but also like black people are very demonized for their anger, especially black women, right? It's angry black women stereotype. So white women can't be that, right? If they want to keep their place in the hierarchy, which they have already worked really hard to get there and to keep, they don't want you coming along into their country club and being prettier than them, being wealthy on your own, like, because they had to give all that up. They had to give all that up. And that's why they're threatened by you. And the reason that they hover around you is because that's the only compliant way for them to make you feel unwelcome. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Jordan Peele captured this really well in Get Out when he had the black people acting like white people, and it was so uncanny. That's because there is that difference. Especially in the case of Georgina, that's exactly what a white woman would look like in a black woman's body. It would be very uncanny. And the way that Georgina asserted her power was by always hovering around and being in people's business. And that's what white women do. Like, that's the most threatening that a white woman can get, is to just, you know, be there, just hovering and getting in your business. That's why there's the same like stereotype about, you know, youth pastors' wives and like pastors' wives in general, is that they just have this very disconcerting presence where with a smile on their face, they will look you dead in the eyes and say the most fucked up misogynistic shit so that they can continue propping up the patriarchy. Right? And it's just creepy. It's creepy how they act, because it's like, why are you saying all this with a smile on your face? Because of compliance. Because the compliance part of the white woman handbook says that you have to be pretty, smiling, quiet, not cause trouble, never get in the way of the men. And the most important thing you can do is to support the patriarchy and to make sure that the men have a clear path forward, because you're next in line. You're next in line. But it's like the men are never going to move out of your way, babe. They're never going to move out of your way. But white women still, like, they have this very particular relationship, especially white women in America. They have this very particular relationship to white men, to men in general, right? Which is why White Woman Whisperer got all this hate for pointing stuff out, and she got like demonetized, like her videos were getting reported. The white women were very vicious, but very quietly, you know, very quietly, in that very compliant way. And yet when a black man went on his platform and used his platform to speak up for White Woman Whisperer and to call white women out, the white women in his comments were very nice. They were very like, yes, like, well said, you know, they were feeling very called out. They were not reporting his videos. It's this very interesting relationship that white women have with the patriarchy, because they feel like they're so close to the top that it makes sense for them to keep maintaining these kinds of statuses and behaviors. And I noticed this like right away about, you know, Western white women, is that they stifle themselves a lot. They control themselves a lot. Again, this was very well exemplified in Get Out, when the main white woman character, like, everything about her is just putting on an act so that what she can actually be is this very controlled, very meticulous, very collected psychopath. You know, like when she's just eating like a single Fruit Loop and drinking one single sip from the straw, like, that's all intentional. Like the fact that she has all of these like keepsakes of the previous boyfriends that she has lured over into this whole scheme, because she is not actually what she pretends to be. She pretends to be a real person with real feelings and pretends to like fit into the male gaze, and she fakes sympathy and she fakes empathy, and she even can fake anger and all this stuff. But in reality, she's very self-controlled. She's very meticulous. She's very like determined. Like, she has a goal. She has an end goal in mind, and she's already planning out her next venture. And I noticed this a lot. Like, this was actually really shocking to me, because like in Ukraine, like, if a bitch doesn't like you, she doesn't like you. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of pretending. Like, everything is kind of out in the open. Like, in America, it's like these white women will be so nice to your face. They will pretend like they want the best for you. They will pretend like they have empathy and sympathy and that they totally understand what you're going through, to turn around and literally stab you in the back and exercise their power over you. When my parents came here to America, they very specifically wanted to attend like an English speaking church so they could learn English faster. And so we went to this very conservative, like, little church, and it was just full of like the WASP demographic, and it was very creepy and uncanny trying to interact with these people like as a normal person. You never know what they're thinking. You never know what's behind their eyes. You never know what's behind their smiles. They'll like nod and agree as though they really hear you and like understand what you're saying. But really, it's not that. They're just complying. They're just controlling themselves from saying what they really feel. And you could tell they didn't know what to do with us, because we were like by all means white, but they still saw us as below them. They still saw us as immigrants, and they would talk to us, you know, really slow. Even though my parents would respond back in normal speed and everything like that, they just couldn't help but treat us like second-class citizens. It was very unsettling, very uncanny. No matter what, in America, you are going to take your spot, you take your place in the hierarchy. Even if you refuse, other people will do it for you. They will place you where you belong. And in my opinion, at the end of the day, this all stems from the fact that whiteness is actually like a lack of things. Whiteness is more about what you're not and less about what you are. This is why white people have no culture, because culture is a thing that can be used to degrade people and to make them feel like they're less than. And that's why white people are like, oh, no, none of that. We don't do any of that. You know, the culture is very prim, proper, polite, and it's more based around what you don't do rather than what it is you do. And the things that you do are very performative and only exist to perpetuate a certain hierarchy. Really freaky observing it as a foreigner. Like, even though I know that, again, I'm white, I definitely like benefit from the system. And I'm definitely also not saying that Ukrainians would be better than any other white people if they were confronted with the real life implications of what American people have been presented with. But that's really the problem. I hope I was able to articulate any of this in a way that makes sense, but these are just my thoughts on that. And please stay safe out there, because women like that are just waiting for a chance to like take you down. I love you so much. Godspeed.
Obviously, from all the videos which we've watched and different people that have spoken, I want to pick one or two views that was shared by those beautiful white ladies. They said the fact that black colored lady confront them in a way, a manner that they couldn't at the long run stand, because they challenged them to their face, unlike all the races that we just let it go, let it slide, you know. But that the black ladies, they just go head on and face them, show their face and say, this that you're doing is wrong. That thing you're doing, they face them head on. And they said sometimes it might be the reason why they they are scared of them because they don't want to be confrontational. That is one. Another lady said that that when compliance is not achieved, they expect everybody to comply, even though the rule or the condition is not genuine, is not right, is not good enough. They expect everybody to comply, and an average black lady does not comply because once things are done wrongly or they're not going in the right direction that they should be, they comfort and confront the situation. And another day said this is the main reason why. But I've got another thought of people saying that the reason why you don't like black ladies because you thought that when the black people take over power or they become the center of, let's say, president or whatever, as the case may be, they are gonna vent on the palm color people what they have done to their forefathers. And the reason why they are scared of the black folk is simply because of that, because they are having this fear that, oh, they're going to give to us what we give to them. Even though the present beautiful white folks that are existing now are not directly the people that meted out those conditions, those lifestyle to the black folks, but they're like, we know you guys. We are scared of you guys. If power comes into your hand, you're gonna give to us back exactly what our forefathers gave to you. Could that also be the reason why they are afraid of the black? This is what a lady said, that is the real reason. But that it is not true. It is not true because you thought we're gonna pay you back for what you've done to us because of your guilt. And you say you're afraid of us. That is the reason why you're afraid of us. Don't say that because we confront you or because we challenge you. That the main reason is because of your guilt that is troubling you. Guys, could that really be the reason? Let's talk about this. Let's begin the conversation. I want you guys to start telling me what you think is the reason why they are scared of black ladies. This comes from beautiful black women, and they are expressing their views, their perception. But could that be the reason that they're not complying? They are not, they confront them and all that. Could that be the reason? Or the other reason that was mentioned, that you are afraid of the black folk because you knew quite all right that they're going to met onto you what was meted onto them by our forefathers. Guys, let the conversation begin. But I feel strongly, like I said in my previous video, I said, we were once in power. Excuse me. We were once in power. It's not as though we've never been in power. Blacks have always been the king all over the continent of the world. We're always in charge. Before what happened, European colonial master took over another. So blacks have always been in charge of power. And we were not power drunk. We didn't say that, oh, let's make others feel inferior to us. That is not the attribute, the character of a black race. That is not a matter of if they become powerful again, they're gonna do unto us what we have done to them. That we have always been in power. I will never behave in such a way to downplay or make anybody or anyone or any race to feel inferior to us, because that is not the nature of the black person. We are accommodating, we are loving, we are caring. We share the love of God in our heart. We are not biased at any point in time. That can never happen. That couldn't be the reason. That's what I feel. But hey, if you have a contrary opinion to what I'm saying, guys, let the conversation begin. I want to hear your opinion, your view, and your perception to this trending story, because it must be addressed, it must be discussed, it must be said, because if this is what they are feeling, then it must be addressed. People must know that the black folks are not greedy. They are not wicked. We are loving, we are caring. That is what it is, actually. But if the other side is what they are thinking, let's begin to talk about it, and we can begin the conversation to making them feel otherwise, that we are not like that. Then we need to begin to educate them that this is not who we are as black folks. Guys, I want your opinions. I want your views. I want your perception. Let the conversation begin. Thank you guys for watching to this moment. Thank you for not tuning away, because you have the right to do that, but for staying tuned, for all the like, for the compliments I'm getting. Thank you guys. I'm grateful. If today's your first time, do want to subscribe, like, and share this great post, because we are beginning what I call the enlightenment of the Twitter populace as regarding the black folks. Thank you. Until I come your way again, stay in peace, stay in love, and avoid trouble. Bye bye.